I love acting, it's great, but I find I really love everything about film and filmmaking. I mean, I really love it.
What's your prayer for your life?
My prayer for my life is good health.
She had the voice of an angel, a Grammy on her shelf, and millions in the bank. She was once called the next Mariah Carey, even outselling Beyoncé in her prime. But behind the velvet gowns and diamond necklaces, Toni Braxton was fighting a losing battle. Bankruptcy not once, but twice, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, and a life-threatening illness that almost ended her career forever. This is the emotional and unbelievable story of how Toni Braxton went from global icon to financial ruin, and how she rose again. Toni Braxton's voice was undeniable. Born in a strict religious household in Maryland, she was discovered singing in a gas station. Her voice caught the attention of Babyface and L.A. Reid, two of the biggest producers in music. By 1993, she exploded onto the scene with her self-titled debut album. The numbers were insane. Over 10 million copies sold worldwide, 3 Grammy Awards in just 2 years. Touring globally with sold-out shows and luxury accommodations. She was living the dream. A mansion in Atlanta, designer clothes, private jets, and million-dollar music videos. At one point, Toni Braxton was earning over $170 million in record sales. But she only saw a tiny fraction of that money. Despite the millions flowing into the record labels, Toni Braxton's personal finances were a disaster waiting to happen. Why? Because like many artists of her era, she signed a predatory contract. She earned pennies on the dollar for every album sold. And after managers, lawyers, stylists, and travel expenses, there was barely anything left. But the public didn't see that. All they saw was the glamour. By 1998, Braxton took a bold step. She sued her label, LaFace Records, for unfair compensation. But while the legal battle raged on, the bills didn't stop. So, in a move that shocked fans and the industry, Toni Braxton filed for bankruptcy for the first time. She listed over $5 million in debt, including massive credit card bills, unpaid taxes, and back payments for luxury items. The same woman who had multi-platinum albums was now auctioning off furniture, jewelry, and even her Grammy Awards. And just as she was trying to rebuild, fate dealt her an even crueler hand. In the early 2000s, Toni Braxton was diagnosed with lupus, an autoimmune disease that attacks the body's organs and causes extreme fatigue, pain, and life-threatening complications. It was a devastating blow, not just physically, but financially. She had to cancel tours, decline appearances, and halt album promotions. Insurance wouldn't cover her lost income. Her body was shutting down, and her bank account wasn't far behind. But Toni kept fighting. In 2010, she tried launching a new Las Vegas residency, hoping it would be her comeback moment. But again, bad timing and medical emergencies forced her to cancel shows. The result? Another mountain of debt. That same year, she filed for bankruptcy again. This time, she owed between $10 million and $50 million to creditors, with assets worth less than $500,000. The headlines were brutal. Grammy winner files for bankruptcy again. But no one knew how close she was to losing everything. At her lowest point, Toni Braxton wasn't just broke. She was emotionally drained, physically ill, and publicly humiliated. She was sued by banks, creditors, and even concert organizers. Her lavish lifestyle was gone. She had to give up cars, jewelry, and her dream home. Worse, the world moved on. Younger artists were dominating the charts. Her name barely came up in conversations about icons. For someone who once rivaled Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey, this was heartbreaking. But there was one glimmer of hope: her family. She joined her sisters in a new reality show called Braxton Family Values. It wasn't just entertainment, it was therapy. Viewers connected with Toni's raw honesty, her willingness to show her flaws, her battles with lupus, her fears of becoming irrelevant. Slowly, her star began to rise again. She released new music, critically acclaimed and true to her voice. She rebuilt her reputation, not just as a singer, but as a survivor. But most of all, she reminded the world, you can lose everything and still come back stronger. 5 shocking secrets about Toni Braxton you've never heard. 1. She was almost an opera singer before becoming an R&B icon. Toni studied music at Bowie State University in Maryland and was training to become a music teacher or opera singer. Her vocal range and classical background gave her the dramatic, emotive style that set her apart in pop and R&B. 2. She turned down the role of Tina Turner in What's Love Got to Do with It? Toni was offered the chance to audition for the lead role in the 1993 Tina Turner biopic, but declined because she didn't feel ready to act in such a demanding role. The part later went to Angela Bassett, who earned an Oscar nomination. 3. She lost millions due to a heart-shaped bathtub. One of the strangest reasons behind her financial troubles was her purchase of a $3 million Las Vegas home that included a heart-shaped bathtub she never used. This house contributed heavily to her second bankruptcy. 4. She's one of the few artists to win a Grammy and file for bankruptcy. Twice, only a handful of artists have ever won multiple Grammy Awards, while also filing for bankruptcy more than once. Toni Braxton is part of this rare and unfortunate club, alongside artists like MC Hammer. 5. She was engaged to Birdman from Cash Money Records. Toni Braxton had a surprising relationship with rapper and music executive Birdman from Cash Money Records. The two kept their engagement private for a while, and their unlikely romance drew attention due to their vastly different public personas. Toni Braxton could have walked away. After losing millions, suffering public humiliation, and battling a disease that nearly stopped her heart, no one would have blamed her. She had already achieved what most artists only dream of: multi-platinum records, Grammy wins, world tours. But for Toni, her story wasn't finished. She didn't just want to survive. She wanted to rebuild everything she had lost. And that's exactly what she did. In 2014, she made a bold comeback with Love, Marriage, and Divorce, a joint album with longtime collaborator Babyface. The project wasn't just a nostalgic throwback. It was a statement. It topped the R&B charts, earned rave reviews, and even won her another Grammy Award. At that moment, Toni Braxton reminded the world that her voice, sultry, raw, and powerful, was still one of the most unforgettable in music. But she didn't stop at music. She launched new business ventures, signed book deals, and became a powerful advocate for lupus awareness, openly sharing her experience in interviews, speeches, and charity events. Her vulnerability became her strength. In the public eye, Toni transformed from a pop diva into a symbol of survival, especially for women dealing with chronic illness, financial loss, or career setbacks. Her reality show, Braxton Family Values, brought a new audience into her life. Not just fans of her music, but viewers who connected with her realness, her struggles with love, motherhood, and health. She showed the world that even in chaos, you can remain graceful. She raised her two sons as a single mother, often shielding them from the chaos of her fame. She even returned to acting, appearing in several Lifetime films and continuing to headline performances across the U.S. In 2022, Toni faced another health scare, a blocked coronary artery. She needed immediate heart surgery, and once again, she survived. That same year, she told People magazine, "I have to be a warrior," and a warrior she is. Toni Braxton may no longer flaunt mansions or million-dollar contracts, but she owns something far more powerful, a legacy built on resilience. She's one of the few artists who not only came back from financial disaster, but did it with her dignity, her voice, and her power intact. She may not always be on the front page, but her impact is permanent. Toni Braxton's story is more than just fame and bankruptcy. It's about survival. She was betrayed by contracts, broken by illness, and nearly forgotten by fame. But through it all, she found her voice again. Not the voice that won Grammys, the one that fought back. So the next time someone tells you success is about how high you fly, tell them about Toni Braxton. Because what really matters is how you rise after you fall.